Do you have projects you just can't seem to finish? Do you lack motivation? Do you miss your crochet group and the inspiration they bring to the project? Well, come crochet with me and we'll make beautiful projects together. Welcome to New Crochet, where we focus on completing projects and drawing inspiration from others, seasons, and fashions.
Hello, and welcome back. As you can probably see, I have my Tunisian crochet hooks out. And I have been working on a series for the homeless. I typically do a scarf and a cap. And I try to do several before Christmas and before the cold weather really sets in. My sister and brother-in-law go to a church that has a homeless ministry, and so I try to do this and donate that to their church for that ministry every year. Let me explain a little bit about the hooks. You have, for the life of me, I don't know if these have a certain name to them, but for me, I have issues with my wrists and arthritis. So this one is if I really am in desperate need. and I'm going to use it today just to demonstrate how to start this, but I don't typically use these that often. This is a 6mm, and I'll explain about the yarn and everything later. But I also had got these, and they're on the cheap side, yes. But you get like a whole set, and you can do a larger project. As you see, this is quite long, you know, and so you could definitely do an Afghan with this. But just keep in mind, the smaller your hook, the length on it, the smaller your project. So this is about the size your project can be. And the yarn I like using, which I call my heavenly yarn for this size, is the DK. And typically, let's see, this is the brand that I'm using. Of course, Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
Go on the week that they have the 30% off. You'll get a better deal. This has probably been jacked up again on the prices. You know how it is. So look for that 30% off. You'll get a better deal. Okay, this is a medium to lightweight yarn. And on this project, especially when you're doing Tunisian crochet, it's pretty thick. You know, it can get really thick, and so it becomes stiff whenever that happens. So you want a lightweight to medium weight yarn in order to help it have that flow, that bendability, I guess you would say. But if you look at the crochet recommendation, the hook recommendation, on this weight, it is a 4.5mm on the crochet hook. And then on the knitting needle, it's a 4mm. Now, with Tunisian crochet, especially if you want it more flowy and not so thick and stiff, it's recommended to go up to 2 sizes larger. So if you're doing like a 4.5, if you want to use a 5.5, or even a 6.5 Tunisian crochet hook, which I have my 6 here that I will probably use, that would be better. And it kind of helps because the stitches that I'm going to be doing are the Tunisian simple stitch and the Tunisian full stitch, and they tend to like roll up on you. Any knitter out there knows, you know, that your work can do that. But we're gonna try to minimize that today. All right, so I'm gonna start by showing you how I do this project. I'm working on a youth. I've done a shawl for a woman and one for a man, and now I'm just doing a youth sides. So I've only done 16. This is my work right here that I've done. And as you can see, I have 2 different stitches here. This one, I'm gonna start off. I thought this looked like a nice edge or boundary on this for the ends of the scarf. I don't know why I said shawl, but I meant scarf. And then this is the full stitch, which I don't know if you can tell on this video. Let me see. It's a bit thicker, and that's what I want, you know, is it to be quite thick, especially during the winter. All right, now what I'm gonna do, and I did on that, is I chained 16. It's like a regular crochet, okay? And don't be afraid. It's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, okay, and 16. And what you're gonna do is flip this over and go in those ridge, the back ridge. Now it takes me longer to do this. Don't know why. But once you start this, it'll get better. Okay, and this part is similar to the knitting, so we're casting on, okay? And you're just gonna go through those back ridges. Okay, see, I have issues here. And then me and my poor vision, this is why I don't do this very often. Let me get through the end and I'll come back. Okay, and here we are at the last one. Thought I'd try to show you one more time. For me, it's not easy. You don't want the tension too tight, but you know, you don't want it too loose either. All right. So if you can see, like, this is our bottom edge, and it just has that nice finished look. All right. And what we're gonna do is, this counts as our chain 1, like regular crochet. If you turn your work, you're gonna have, you know, a chain 1 or chain 2, however you start your row. But typically, we're always on our project that we're doing, this counts as a chain 1. So let me do that again. Hold on. All right, that's on there. Okay, so we've done our last ridge on the back, and we're going to yarn over and pull through the first loop only, and that counts as our chain 1. Now we're going to yarn over again and draw through 2. Yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, all the way to the end. And if you've ever done this before, you know that we don't actually turn our work on Tunisian crochet. We just work a forward pass and a back, I think it's called a reverse pass. I don't do this often enough to keep up with the terminology, but you can call it whatever you want to, honey. All right. So we're at the end of our row. We have one loop left on our hook, and we're going to start this Tunisian simple stitch. So if you can see, we have a bar in the front, this vertical bar. We're going to go through just the back of it like this, and we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. Okay, we're going to go through that next vertical bar, yarn over and pull up a loop, and just keep working this all the way down to the end. Maybe I shouldn't use such dark yarn, but this was so pretty. It has light and dark, this emerald green. It's so pretty. Kind of like an ombre effect, I guess. Alright, and I don't know if you can tell, but like the back side of this is heavy and it keeps pull my wrist down. But just for demonstration purposes only, I'm showing you this way. Alright, we're at the end, and I don't know if you can see. I'm going to try to turn my work this way. So there's a bar, a long bar, and then a short bar. And what we're going to do is we're going to work our needle or our hook behind both. And then we're going to draw up a loop. Alright, and that finishes the end. So every time we get to the end, make sure you go through both the long bar and the little short one behind it. Now, this is where we're going to do our chain one. Alright, just yarn over and pull up a loop through the first one only. Now we're going to go back and do that pass. Where we go through two. So yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two, all the way to the end. And that is the Tunisian simple stitch. So you've done it, my friends. Okay, and what I've done is I can finish with this row and I'll show you on the next one. Okay, so you can also use a shorter hook if you want. I would not use the ergonomic ones with the padding, you know, down here. These, I think it's Susan Bates or Boyle or something like that. I don't really get into name brands, but these that just have the thumb rest. I've also put a pencil eraser on the end when I first started doing this, and it helped with the stitches not sliding off on me, because I was trying to, I wasn't really good at it. I promise you, it takes a little practice. But so if you can tell, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of the Tunisian crochet, and then I had started my full Tunisian, or the Tunisian full stitch. And what I'm doing, all right, on your first, this is how I marked it, so I would know where I left off. Okay, so you know how we went under this first stitch for Tunisian simple stitch? Well, the full stitch, you're going front to back, and you're pulling up a loop, and that's it. It's that simple. But the only thing you have to remember is on this, we're starting in that first the first hole here, but on the next row we're starting in the second hole, and let me show you why. Okay, so we're just going to go front to back through that hole and pull up our yarn. Front to back. And sometimes this can get confusing because this likes to separate, and it looks like that would be a knit stitch if I went through that little V there. So make sure you're in the hole between the stitches. And if you can tell, this is so much easier to work with, especially on a smaller project like this. I like the smaller hook. All right, so I'm here at the end, but if you can tell, there's another space, and I'm gonna skip that space. Remember, we're working our ends. Okay, and pulling up that yarn. Okay, now I'm still going to chain 1, and I'm still going to yarn over and draw through 2 all the way down. Just bang the camera. Okay. All right, so we're left with that one loop on our hook. Okay, now remember how when we started, we went into that first hole. Well, we're gonna go into the second this time, and we're gonna work all the way down. And you want to be in that Goldilocks zone. You don't want to do it too loose or too tight. Just it's better to keep your stitches a little loose, but not too much. A little too loose than a little too tight. You know what I'm saying? All right, and then on this one, we're gonna go in that last hole, okay? and make sure you catch your end and draw up that last loop. Okay, and this is our chain 1, yarn over and go through only one, just that first loop, and then yarn over, draw through 2 all the way down to the end. And if you don't keep alternating like this, you're gonna find that your count is off. So it's best to keep it in like a rotating pattern like this to make sure that your work stays straight and you have a good count. And if it helps you, whenever you're casting on, when you draw up a loop, when you're casting on, count those loops when you get to the end of your work, and make sure that you have the same number for each row. And you might want to do this like for the first few rows to make sure that you're on track. Okay. Another thing is whenever you leave off, like say I'm gonna go take a break and work on something else right now. I'm gonna put my needle in where I left off and go ahead and draw up a loop. So I know that I left off in that first hole. So I know to skip that last hole. Okay, and that might help you. That's a little tip there that might help. What I'm gonna do when I finish, because I don't really like the this difference here between the simple stitch and the full stitch, is I'm probably gonna go back around with a single crochet all the way around and make that, even that up. And I might even do 2 rows of single crochet on the edges, and it'll also help it lay down when you do that, and it looks nice. It has a nice edge and border. So okay, I realized that this might not be too clear, so I wanted to go back and show you. Okay, you're at the beginning and then you have this loop here, and in that is the first hole. Okay, so I'm on my second hole, which is right here. So I'm counting with you. Okay, I've already got 2 loops on my hook. So this is going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and then the last one is 16. So it should equal the number that we chained to begin with. We chained 16 at the beginning, if you remember that. All right, and then we're going to do our chain 1, and then yarn over, draw through 2 all the way down.
And believe me, I've had to rip out
and redo many times. Okay, so here I am back at my first row. Okay, so I've got 1, one loop on my hook, and then this first loop right here, I'm going in this first gap, this first hole. So that's the first one, okay? And this is the row I'm skipping the last one.
So this is four loops on there. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let me make sure. Yeah. I'm getting myself confused here because I think I've gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14,
15, okay? And then I'm skipping this last hole, and I'm going to the end where I'm catching that long vertical and short vertical bar. Yarn over, draw up your loop, yarn over, chain 1, yarn over, draw through 2, all the way to the end. And I think it helps when you count to make sure that you still have that 16 on there. You should be able to keep it straight. I just wanted to make sure that you were able to start in the correct spot. Alright, so this would be my, if I was starting in my first spot, and I'm skipping one, on this next row, I'm going into the next spot. And it's so easy to, like, get yourself confused like I just did. But you're looking for those vertical bars, and you're wanting to go in between those vertical bars, okay? So what I had done a while ago was I had gotten in between or behind the vertical bar and behind the vertical bar on the back, and that is a knit stitch, and I don't want to do that. So just make sure you go through the hole, that hole, if you can see that, from front to back, and pull up your loop, okay? Just make sure you find that hole in between the vertical bars. Remember to keep your work kind of loose here, okay? You don't want it too tight, you don't want it too loose. Keep it in that Goldilocks zone. Oops, what did I do here? I did something. All right. In between those vertical bars, and then this, I'm going into the last one on this row. And that is that. So remember that tip, if you want to leave off like at the same spot or the same row, so I'm starting off behind this first loop, each time like you go take a break or do something like that, then you shouldn't, you should be able to pick right up again. Don't leave it where the dog or the cat can get to it and mess it up, because you might end up in a little bit of trouble there. But have fun with it. You can do this. One thing I wanted to tell you too is at the end, when you get finished with your length, the length that you wanted, go back or end your work with the Tunisian simple stitch and do those 5 rows to end it, okay? And then, like I said before, I'm gonna go and do the single crochet all the way around, just to make sure that the transition between these 2 stitches, looks a little better. It's a little more even. And it also, see how this is starting to curl up? It also helps this lay flat as well when you work that single crochet. But I'm going to do 2 rows of that for a nice edge. Okay, I can't believe I almost ended this video without showing you how to bind off. Alright, so I've worked just a couple of those simple stitch, Tunisian simple stitch on the last couple of rows, and this is just a little swatch I'm showing you how to do. But so you're gonna go into the next vertical bar like you're doing your simple stitch. You're going to draw up your loop, but you're going to slip stitch into that first loop, okay? And then we're going to go into the next vertical bar, draw up your loop, and slip stitch, all right? And we're just going to do that all the way down to the last one. Pretty simple, right? And see, you get that nice edge just like we did at the beginning when we went through that back bar. You can see that. But so I'm going through this vertical bar, drawing up my loop, slip stitch, vertical bar, draw the loop, slip stitch. And the same as we have done before, going through both of those, the long one and the short one, draw up your loop and slip stitch, and that's us binding off. Okay, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna chain one, literally chain one, okay, and then I'm gonna go evenly space and single crochet all the way around. So this full stitch might be a little bit more difficult to work in because it is thick. You have that thickness there, but And as always, when we get to the corner, we're going to do 3. So 3 single crochets in this corner. And this is going to be a little difficult to get in. But you're going to go all the way around, and I'm going to do this twice. And this is going to be my edge, my edging. Hopefully that little dip, that little gap right there, I can close. It'll look. I'm also going to block this. So yeah, I'll have to show you my blocking method whenever, one day on one video. Everybody does it differently, and hey, knock yourself out. Just do, you know, if you've been taught a different way, go for it. But I am, I guess, maybe on an advanced level, but I'm no expert by any means, and I'm always learning. And I like to watch how different people do their thing, you know. If I do it differently, hey, it's not that I'm doing it wrong or they're doing it wrong. It's just we all have different ways of doing stuff. We still get it done though, right? So I'm going to end this here, and I'll show you what it looks like, my little swatch after I've blocked it, okay? And this is probably going to take me a while, so I might not have a finishing picture for you, but but just stick with it. It'll be worth it when you get finished, and it looks nice. A lot of people like that knit stitch look, and this is especially this full stitch. It's really nice, and it's relatively thick. This is the back of the work, and it, you know, it's a nice thick pattern, especially for winter. I hope you enjoyed this one.
Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed today's cozy crochet session. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button and ring the bell so you never miss a stitch. Share your beautiful creations with us in the comments below. Keep those hooks moving, and until next time, happy crocheting.